There might be a ninth planet hiding in the outer regions of our solar system, past Neptune and Pluto. Once upon a time, astronomers realized that something extremely strange seemed to be happening beyond Pluto. An unknown astronomical mass was affecting the orbits of 6 smaller objects in the Kuiper Belt. Thousands of light years from where you're sitting now, this object was given the name Planet 9, as well as the far more insulting nickname Fatty. But does this planet even exist? What material would it be composed of? Is it possible that it's a black hole? Most people over the age of 20 now have a much different knowledge of the solar system than they did just a few years ago. We grew up knowing exactly what our solar system looked like, from the sun in the center to Pluto in the farthest reaches. However, in August 2006, Pluto sort of fell off and was voted out of being a planet, stating that it should no longer be called a planet. As a result, it was downgraded, sadly, to the rank of a dwarf planet. Some of us are still not over it. Generations of people were forced to rethink their concept of the solar system. Instead of 9 planets, we now had just 8. But before you run down to the comments and tell us all to move on, we recognize that, while astronomically correct, the decision to demote Pluto was tough to swallow for emotional reasons. The demotion of a planet with a heart was nothing less than losing a close friend for generations of space enthusiasts educated in the School of 9 Planetary Systems. However, things became much more problematic in 2016 when Michael Brown, one of the scientists who lobbied for Pluto to lose its planetary status, had no problem moving on. You may wonder how. Well, Mr. Brown hypothesized that there may be a large 9th planet circling the sun that has never been discovered. Wrapping our brains around Planet 9 has proven difficult for those of us who are still grieving the loss of Pluto, our ex-9th planet. So, what exactly is Planet 9, and why are you only learning about it now? This hypothetical planet has been given various names, including Nibiru, Tycho, and others. But we'll stick with Planet 9. So, to put it simply, Planet 9 is an object that we think exists in the solar system beyond Neptune's orbit and circles the sun. But before we jump the gun and start redoing the maps of the solar system, we should be clear that Planet 9 still only exists in principle, according to NASA. If this planet exists, it would be orbiting beyond Pluto, the forgotten dwarf planet, billions of light years away in a region of the Kuiper Belt that gets very little light or energy. Its orbit would be extremely elliptical, similar to that of several of the farthest planets. Exactly how much? So, only one revolution of the sun would take the planet anywhere from 7,400 to 18,500 years to complete. For comparison, Pluto was discovered in 1930, and despite its estimated 248-year orbital period, it has not yet completed one full circle around the sun. How crazy is that? And our friend Pluto was denied planet status because it failed to meet 2 of the 3 criteria established by the International Astronomical Union for Planet Recognition. Although it meets several requirements, including orbiting the sun, and has enough mass to achieve hydrostatic equilibrium, in other words, a roughly spherical form, it falls short of a crucial one. It was unable to achieve gravitational control over its surroundings, and the rest is history. This particular aspect may work more in the hypothetical new planet's favor than any other. And in many respects, this fact alone is what led us to believe it does actually exist. But more on that later in the video. According to scientists, there should be no doubts regarding the legitimacy of the 9th planet because it has 5,000 times Pluto's mass. Planet 9 has gravitational supremacy over the other planets in its solar system, unlike the group of small objects now referred to as dwarf planets. In fact, it has more influence over an area than any other planet that is currently known. Basically, planets tend to alter the gravitational pull of their surroundings while they exist, so if something seems to be pulling on a planet, just do some math to identify the cause. This is how Neptune was discovered. John Couch Adams and Urbain Le Verrier both recognized that Uranus appeared to be tethered to an unknown planet. In the case of Planet 9, there is no gravitational pull on the planet. What we do observe is a unique collection of little ice things called Kuiper Belt objects, or KBOs in the outer solar system. If there were no planets beyond the Kuiper Belt, the orbits of KBOs would be random within the solar system's orbital plane. Instead, we see that many KBO orbits are grouped together and have the same orientation. Although it's unlikely, it's possible that this is merely the result of chance. Astronomers also think that Planet 9 may be a super-Earth, nearly 10 times as big as our planet, with an orbit that is a highly elongated oval loop. This theory is based on calculations and the motions of known planets in the Kuiper Belt. However, what would Planet 9 actually look like? Previously, it was thought that it would take this new planet some 18,500 years to complete one complete circuit around the Sun, where Neptune completes an orbit roughly every 165 years. The most recent research, however, reduces the estimate to 7,400 years, suggesting that it is far closer to the Sun and Earth than previously believed. According to a possible explanation for the body's remote location, its origins were likely anywhere between the orbits of Jupiter and Neptune, with a birth quite similar to any of the other gas planets in our solar system. Before it could load itself, Planet 9 would have been jolted by one of the two gas giants' gravity wells and would have ended up in the freezing wastes. Despite its huge, slow orbit, enough time ought to have elapsed since the solar system's formation for it to have cleared its orbit of frozen fragments of rock and dust, giving this stunted gas ball an official planetary designation. Mike Brown is certain that the discovery of a new ninth planet is simply a matter of time, and there is only a 0.4% chance that he is incorrect. Other astronomers, though, strongly disagree. Some contend that the Kuiper object grouping may just be a physical consequence. According to one theory, it may even be a primordial black hole. There are essentially black holes that are supposed to have been seeded in the early universe shortly after the Big Bang with the random distribution of mass at the time. They are thought to be considerably smaller than the conventional black holes we have recently observed, but they are incredibly difficult to measure and seek because they don't really interact with anything and are entirely theoretical. Therefore, the argument goes, could a black hole be the source of the odd orbits? And given the lack of existing proof for a planet or anything else, we suppose it's feasible. Having said that, while it's entertaining to consider which is more probable, a sort of celestial body we have observed tens of thousands of, a planet, or a theory you have but have never seen any proof for, although not impossible, we don't think it's the most probable. A primordial black hole, as opposed to one created by a supernova, is thought to be less than 1.5 solar masses. It's still a little too wonderful for us though. So, why can't we detect Planet 9 if it exists? In order to answer that, we must first ask you how many planets you see when you gaze at this image. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, were any of them found? If not, don't be alarmed. The universe is enormous and grows frighteningly black very quickly. Because the brightness of sunlight decreases by a factor of 4 when it goes out, and by a factor of 4 again when it returns, planets twice as distant appear 16 times dimmer. So basically, Planet 9 would be 160,000 times brighter than Neptune at an orbital distance of 600 astronomical units. It would look more than 1 million times weaker at 1000 AU, which explains in part why seeing the planet has been so difficult. Astronomers rarely search for a single object in the cosmos. Instead, they generally focus their attention on studying classes of objects, such as a certain type of planet. And if such a mysterious object exists, it would circle at least 10 times further from the Sun than Neptune, making it too far away and faint to have been seen by any telescope up to this point. However, there is positive news in the search for Planet 9, so don't panic. When the 3.2 gigapixel large synoptic survey telescope, the biggest digital camera ever built, is finished in the Chilean highlands of 2023, it will be able to quickly snap comprehensive photos of the whole night sky. If Planet 9 isn't discovered before then, that amazing telescope could be able to provide us with some answers. Not only could it shed light on Planet 9, but also on 5 or 6 additional projected far-off planets of a similar sort, some of which have even longer orbits than Planet 9, our most recent cosmic enigma. For the time being, our solar system remains an 8-planet family. Even if the 9th member is not discovered, our search may still turn up more than enough information about our galactic neighbors to make it worthwhile.